Hi there, I'd like to show you about the Troop Finances Tracker 2.0, new and improved. If you want to see the basics, you can watch this video here, and almost all of that information is still accurate. I will comment at the end about some information that is not accurate anymore. So maybe you want to listen to this one before you watch that one. But otherwise, it's really helpful in talking about, for example, this budget categories page, and for sure talking about the transactions page. But first, let me show you the things that are new. One of them is a reimbursement form. And, oh, you know what? First, before we do any of this, this is how to make this your own. If you go to File, make a copy, because right now I can only see it, so I'm going to copy this into, you do need to have a Google account to do this, so if you don't already have that, give yourself a Google Gmail and then log into Drive. It'll end up in your Drive. So now this is my very own, and like last time, the yellow cells are the ones you should type into. For example, here I can type in my troop number and my name, etc. So let's look at what's new. The reimbursement form, see how I added the troop number on the setup page and it shows up here. I added my name, it shows up here. This also has all of the, I wanted to make this as simple as possible, so I just ask for the person's name. If they want it mailed to them, I ask for their street address. Otherwise, I said they'll give it to the next troop meeting. Some of this, if you want to change that, maybe you don't want to give it at the next troop meeting, you're always going to mail it. This isn't yellow because I'm not expecting you to change it, but you certainly can. Just go up here and just start typing whatever you want. Now, things like this, if you want to change the categories that are listed here, you can't do that. If I try and type here, it just goes to this formula. If you ever get into this situation where you're in the middle of typing a formula and you don't want to be there, just hit the escape key on your keyboard and that'll pop you out. Like, it's kind of like a cancel, or you could, yeah. So let's say, for example, in my troop, our badge coordinator has a troop credit card, and so she doesn't have to do expense reimbursements for that. So badges, service stars, etc. is not on here. But maybe your troop is different. So if you go back up to Setup and you look here, mark RF below next to each category you want to include on your reimbursement form. These categories come from the budget categories, but I had to have them, I wanted them all in a nice list that you can then add your RF. So we're going to do RF for badges and service stars and level awards and joining awards. And now if we go back over to here to a reimbursement form, now they're where they belong on the list. Badges, joining awards, service stars, level awards, it's all on there. Same thing if you want to take something off, just go here to RF, you know, just to this page, the setup page, and make the changes you want. And then when you print this, it should hopefully print on one page. If it doesn't, then you might have to adjust the row heights, but on my computer it prints on one page. So what you might want to do then is, once you have it all set up with your email, your address on the setup page, the categories that you want, then go to print it, hit next. And when you get the print dialog box, I don't know if it's recording this, just do save as PDF. I'm going to cancel out of that though. Okay, so that's the reimbursement form that was added. And then conversely, that's if you want to be paid back for something you paid. Conversely, if you bring in money, maybe you're collecting money for fall camp, or when people turn in money for their fundraiser, I thought it'd be helpful to have a deposit form for the funds collected. This one, again, here, for example, this one, make checks payable to, this is not yellow because you're not supposed to do it here. In fact, if I click on it, it tells me setup. I'm supposed to go to my setup tab, and there, if I go, if I type it in there and now go back, now it's listed there. So that's where that's done. Hopefully this is self-explanatory. Again, if you want to change it slightly, I just thought this makes the most sense for us. And I did make this one since you might have, like let's say it's a fundraising collection night, you might have a lot. So on this one, if you go to print it, you can just print one page that would have just the basics, and then I have additional pages that are just lots and lots of rows. And then at the very bottom, page blank of blank, so that you can write that in as you're doing it. Yeah, so some of this, you might want to tweak this. This is the way we're set up. Cash has to be counted by at least 2 people and then signed, etc., etc. So, but hopefully that's helpful for reimbursement forms and deposit forms. The things that have changed, first of all, in the original video, I showed you all the stuff, and then I said, and if you want to use it, just delete all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. No, there's just this blank form. Start with a blank one, and then you don't have to delete anything. You can just start typing into it. If you've already used that last one and now you want to upgrade to this one, I think you should be able to just highlight everything that's in yellow on your last one and then go here and paste it in. You'll have to do that with transactions, budget categories. You might have to be a little more careful, but you should be able to just make yourself a copy of this one and then copy and paste in the data. The other thing that's changed is when you do have a transaction. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Wait a second. Okay, I don't know what I just did there because, yeah, I think I deleted. The reconciled is supposed to, now instead of only having R for reconciled and split, I've added, well, don't worry about family label. I'm still working on getting the kinks out of assigning family labels to transactions so you know what families owe and what they have paid. But I did also add, some people want to be able to reconcile once a month with their bank statement, but they also want to show periodically, just log into their online account and see what's cleared. And so the C is for cleared and R is for reconciled. So that's another change. I also changed at the very bottom. This is just slightly different. It used to be if you watch the video at the very end, I showed how to add rows and then to fill in. So let's say we've added these rows and these would all be empty when you add them. In the video, I had you fill them in this way with the fill drag arrow, but the problem with that is then the formatting, the colors are messed up, the row colors. So instead of doing that way, it tells you select the 4 gray, actually it's 5 gray white cells at the bottom with the dashes in them, and then you select all the empty stuff. I like to use click the first one, hold shift, click the last one, and then paste. Just reading the description, it's right here. So it's a little bit different, but everything else in that first video is still entirely accurate and helpful in knowing how to set the budget categories, what these other columns are useful for, knowing how to enter split transactions, how to filter for just certain categories, etc. So take a look at that, and I hope it's helpful. Family stuff will hopefully be coming soon.